Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome. Sorry, we're coming on a couple minutes late here. We've had quite an exciting morning. Yeah, there's a lot of construction down by where we live, and so trying to get a parking spot, or down by where our office is, I should say, trying to get a parking spot is tricky. Anyway, here we are, and I'm so excited to welcome my lovely daughter Kristal back for our live Q&A. And today is quite a special moment for Kristal and I working together. We've just come together as a family and started our family corporation. And this is Kristal's official launch day as a reader on my website. So to celebrate all of this, if you would like to book a session with Kristal, you can use this coupon code. It's on the, the coupon code is not on the ticker, but it's on the link below. So you use the code Kristal25 to receive 25% off all readings and sessions booked with her between now and the end of June. And this is a really amazing deal because her prices are already fantastic. So
Thanks,
yay,
everyone.
we're just so delighted to be at this moment where Kristal's ready to devote herself pretty much full time to this work, to her coaching, and also to her intuitive readings and her tarot readings. So we're going to be talking about that a little bit more here in a few minutes. But we're going to start off by taking some of your questions. I'm going to get you to shuffle, Kristal, and tune in with the energy of everybody while I come on and say hello to so many of our friends. So hi, Cass. We saw your question on Ethereum and XRP. It's going to be the first one. So Kristal, if you want to tune in with that, we'll start with that question. Cass asks, let's see here if we can get the question up there. Please pull cards on Ethereum and XRP. Ethereum has skyrocketed. Will it continue its bull run? When will the XRP finally break through? So I think what we're going to do is do two piles, two with three in each.
Yeah. And then the final when.
I think we can put the when in with these. So we're just going to look at the two different ones and see what we get about Ethereum on the left and XRP on the right. Hi, Ricky, Maria, Dawn.
Hi, Dawn.
Lorna, lovely to see you all. We haven't been around for a couple of weeks. We weren't here last week because it was Mother's Day weekend and we went camping, which was so lovely. Sherry, Leslie Ann, Tammy, woohoo! It's
Thank
so
you all
awesome
for joining
to see you.
Yeah.
Okay, Kristal.
Two piles?
Two piles, three in
right.
each, and we're going to lay them so they're facing the camera. Yeah, totally. There we go.
Okay.
Wow. So this one is Ethereum. We talked about Ethereum first, and then XRP is the other one. Cool. Okay, so love it.
I can see there.
So yeah, this one on this side is Ethereum. And the question is, will it continue its bull run? If so, for how long? And what are you getting on that, Kristal?
Like another 7 to 8 weeks and then a crash?
Yeah, maybe. So yeah, I mean, it's like this, it feels like it's stabilizing, I get, even, right, 7 or 8 weeks, because that's like July. You could look at the Seven of Pentacles as being the 7th month, and August. So,
and maybe even just like an overhaul of
yeah, so
change in structure.
Yeah, it might go through some really big changes by August, but it does feel like it holds, it stabilizes, and it's not going to go on. This isn't going to continue to go the way it has been. Now, interesting about XRP, because it's such a different feel, isn't it? What do you sense about, we've got the Hermit, the Queen of Swords, and then kind of like The tiebreaker is the Three of Cups. What are you getting on that, Kristal?
Yeah, coming into some real celebration. It's almost kind of like keeping it, like investing and strategizing and kind of keeping it to yourself.
Yeah.
Like, don't tell anybody.
That's what I was
Yeah.
getting, that it's kind of doing this back in the background.
Mhm.
There's some changes happening. It's something about, that's exactly what I was seeing. It's something about keeping it kind of hidden.
Like almost like there's going to be like some really cool things happening with it, and you're going to want to share it with people, but it's like you kind of have to make a boundary with yourself of like, nope, I'm going to really listen to my own internal wisdom about how to invest in it and how to, and then within like a few months really kind of getting it out there and spreading some of the news about it, like really getting to emotionally like celebrate with your people about it.
Yeah.
And then share your successes.
That's what I'm getting too. It feels like in the long run, when at the right time, when it starts to pick up, it's actually a lot more about the connections with the people who are in that community. You know, I mean, Ethereum is a long-standing currency, right? It's been around for a really long time. It's got that old paradigm kind of energy to it. And it does feel, well, XRP too, to some extent, but it does feel, this feels to me like it's kind of the old system. And this feels like it has the possibility to become something a lot more prominent, even possibly much later down the road, like 2 or 3 years from now, even. Is that what you're getting, kind of a feeling?
Yes.
Like hang on,
yeah,
because it's going to be it's going to be the thing to watch down the road, is what I'm getting.
Yeah, this one feels like it's kind of like really working for us right now. Like there's it's good to make investments in that, but it almost seems like it's good to kind of like really make it work for you within like the next 7 or 8 months, and then pull some out, maybe pull some out and put it into
yeah. I always say with cryptocurrencies that you know, to me, it's a lot about like the cream principle, where we are taking the cream off, but we're keeping our initial capital in there, as opposed to it being this big trading thing where we go like buy and sell massive amounts to when the prices go up and down, because it does destabilize the whole system. And treating it in a way like an old stock system where, you know, you keep taking the cream and not just putting it into cryptocurrency, but putting it into real world goods, you know, real securities, whether that be gold and silver, even businesses, actual real practical things that are going to retain their value regardless of where the economy goes, like things like real estate. Well, that is a very that's a very chaotic worldwide market right now, right? Because we don't know if markets go way down and you buy when things are high, and then you lose a lot on that. Whereas certain kinds of businesses, I always talk about, you know, just investing in things that are going to be needed, kind of like recession-proof businesses, investing in things that will be needed regardless of what's going on in the outer world. So that's what I always recommend with cryptocurrencies. Okay, let's go back up now, Kristal, and have a look at, there's a couple of good questions here. There was a quick question near the top about the moon and women's monthly cycle. You know, yeah, there's been some comments about, are we only supposed to have a very, you know, sporadic monthly cycle, and the way that the moon has been tampered with, it's entrained us to have this very frequent, you know. I always think about, well, that, who did that serve, right? Who would that serve in terms of, you know, productivity? And we know during the Industrial Revolution, for example, you know, needing a huge supply of workers, and all the religions were promoting, like, you know, no birth control, just produce unlimited amounts of workers for the system. And that makes sense that there would be this agenda around, you know, creating some kind of system where our reproduction cycle is triggered very, very frequently. So let's look at that, and let's look at where we are with that right now in terms of what's ideal for us. I want to even remove a bit out of the whole, like, was this done to us against our will, or are we being manipulated? Because I always see that even in the contrast of the manipulation, there's often things that are beneficial for us, and part of our evolution. It's also like good to know when it's time to say sayonara to all that, right? Like maybe it's time to not have a reproductive cycle that is so frequent and producing so many children, right?
Yeah. Instead of looking back into what has been done to us, how, you know, the pros and cons, which is so always beautiful to consider, but I feel like we're doing that a lot in life, where we're like, well, instead of looking back over all the things that have happened, let's look forward from this perspective place, from this experience place, with the wisdom that we now carry and these evolved beings that we're becoming, and what is it that we really desire and what works for us as these new earthlings going forward.
So let's just ask about, we'll do a sword spread and ask about where are we at and what do we need to know about this phenomena? Is it going to change? Oh, very interesting. Banner box. That's great. Yeah, love it. Oh, whoa. Okay, I just have to pause for a second and say this card, this priestess, is associated, out of all the tarot cards, she is actually associated with the moon. You see the moon at her feet? And also with women's monthly cycles.
You can really see with
the
this.
Pomegranates represent that.
Yeah.
And so we're literally seeing, look at this, across from that is the Tower. So changes in reproduction and fertility are, you know, whether eminent, and whether or not it happens by these so-called manipulative power dominant forces coming in and messing with things, or whether it's the natural point we are in our evolution. It feels like there would have been other ways that this could have also taken place, is what I'm getting. So it's kind of scheduled in our evolution, and in a way you could say that the nefarious forces have done their role in being part of where we're going with this.
It feels quite predestined. It feels quite karmic with this judgment card here. It's very much like I see also, like with our health and our systems, like there's a real kind of overhaul and shakedown that's going on right now. And there's a lot of people that are feeling like I call this guy the tightrope walker, and kind of feeling like a lot of just kind of step by step holding ground. And it's interesting because we have the Six of Swords in there, or Six of Wands in there as well. But this is such a beautiful centerpiece.
So in a way, we could say that this is going to benefit us in the big picture in the long run.
Absolutely, with the sun in the future, like.
And it's funny because changing the cycles, but coming into almost a higher frequency of when we are conceiving and calling souls in, it's like we're going to be activated at a much higher frequency. So the fact that our cycles are not as frequent will in a way make them more, not say sacred, but like potent or in alignment somehow. So
with this baby steps card, with this little victories card, it feels a lot to me like we're stepping into being invited to really look at what it is that we want to hold on to from it. Like really diving into how sacred it is that we, as the feminine, as women, get to have these cycles, and what is it that, like you said, that we're really going to be carrying forward? Because for a lot of time, there have been a lot of women that haven't honored the real sacredness and the celebration as much of it, and so it's like,
Which
what are
makes
we holding on to? So
well, and it makes sense because, you know, as Dawn is pointing out, like, gosh, if it's happening so frequently, it becomes a real pain in the you know what, right? Like, it's like it becomes more of that burden and that drudgery. And it's also, I think, really hard on our systems as women. We
Well,
talk about like the hormones working through your body day and night, month in and month out. You know, now that I'm no longer on that cycle,
that's what I was gonna say.
I often am like, you know, when Kristal's going through her time, I'm like, didn't that just happen last week? Like,
Yeah.
and now I know what men feel like. It's like, gosh, we just
Yeah.
did that and it's happening again, you know. But
Yeah.
as a woman, you're like going through this huge highs and lows roller coaster ride spike of hormonal waves, and you're just constantly like, so much is happening around that it really almost, I want to say, it just distracts from our other aspects of our potency as women. We're completely taken over by that.
So what is it for each of us
Mhm.
that are the things that we've really that have really impacted us and that feel like a real powerful part of how we've connected to our cycles, and then how are we bringing that honoring forward?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, I want to go on to the next question, and then we're going to pause for a minute and have a little chitty chat about a couple of things. So, Lorna, and don't worry about your typos, Lorna. Totally fine. We all do it.
Totally.
How does one navigate these times as a weekend person? Husband and children, not difficult when you see them financially struggling with their own journey, but want to help. Okay, so let's do a basic spread on that as well, and see. You know, I've had lots of thoughts over this and work with all kinds of people all over the world who are awake, and oftentimes their family members are not. And I have so much compassion for that. I'm very fortunate that most of my close friends and family members are awake, but also there's some real beautiful healing that's happening in families that are split. And you know, I feel like Kristal's going to be able to speak on this pretty beautifully, because she's a real warrior of sovereignty, and not just sovereignty in being a sovereign being, meaning that we are not, you know, under the control of governments, you know, international corporations and politics that don't have our best interests at heart, but also sovereignty in our relationships with each other
and ourselves,
and within ourselves, right? So we've been trained in a model that is not sovereign, and therefore we are kind of always in conflict within ourselves. And
I mean, I work with a lot of different types of people in this realm, and also my 15 years as a hairstylist. And, you know, when all of this was really coming through, I really had to bridge between a lot of people and support a lot of people in different choices, because I didn't really have a choice on that. I had my own choices, and I always stood really in my power in that, but you also really want to. And so what really came up for me was that all truths are a truth. And I say that so often to people, because all truths are a truth to someone. And if somebody's going to argue that, then that's literally just perspective. And there's so many different timelines, and there's so many different realities. And someone could really be standing strong in their truth, being a truth. It doesn't mean that it's necessarily true, but I really encourage people to consider that.
It's almost like
very,
that's where they are right now, and to attack that and say you're wrong is like, that's where they need to be in order to grow. And instead of telling them, you know, that's not true, you're wrong, we can say, well, for me, this is my truth.
Mhm.
And they can look at us and go, wait a minute, I like the way you talk. I like the way your your feels good. I like how you think about things. I'm being around you, I feel good. And then they're like, maybe I should like
consider,
like move over a little closer to some of your truths. You know, I never thought of them that way. So really it's about, you know, educating people from your perspective. And I love the little exercise Kristal shows. So we'll see. We'll do the cards first.
Should
and
we
then
show the question?
I already did.
You did.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the question I will reread is, how does one navigate these times as an awakened person where our family members are not, and it's so hard to see them struggling financially as well, right? Oh, this is going to be good. This is going to be good. Yeah, you're doing great.
Thank you.
Super great.
Okay.
Wow.
Go ahead.
Okay,
Yeah,
well, so what I get, the main thing I'm getting, first of all, we have 2 3s here, and 3s are a lot about, you know, the guys are saying, just keep going, just keep going, just keep moving. It's like the 3s are a movement energy that's playful. It's kind of like 1, 2, 3, ready, set, go, hip, hip, hooray. It's this energy of playful movement that isn't about one or the other, right? When you have 2, it's a polarizing. When you have 3, it's like this, that, and the neutral third, which is the place we can agree, where we can meet and celebrate what's true for both of us. So that is a big message in this. It's also showing you, Lorna, and all of us who are strong, mostly sovereign inside of ourselves, grounded in our versions of the truth, which in a way you could say are more sustainable, right? A lot of these versions of the truth that people who aren't awake have, you know, they're going with the passing political winds, like they are afraid to have critical thought. So in a way, what you could say is that the truth is where we are grounded in not making a choice right away. We're kind of watching the big picture. We're taking other things into consideration. We're critically thinking a lot. We're willing to talk about things that are maybe a bit uncomfortable. And when you were talking about money, it's interesting because you got 2 really good money cards here. You've got that 3 of Pentacles, meaning you set the tone. You start flourishing financially. You start maybe a little business or a little project or some investments. You sort of up level that frequency by setting a new example. And even if it just starts small, like a little pulse, like, look over here. Oh, you know, if you try to say, well, my way is great and I'm all that, and, you know, pride comes before. But if you just keep staying in your own lane, doing your thing, you may even come into a place where you're helping them financially. And this isn't about like becoming codependent and like, you know, like just trying to overcare, like putting yourself, what's that word I'm looking for? Martyring yourself and being the one that saves everyone. But if you can, with a generous, open heart, share your abundance, it changes frequency. Like generosity and sharing has an up-leveling energy to it. So you're going to get more mileage out of staying in your own lane and up-leveling your own financial frequency and then sharing that. And isn't this kind of what you and your sister have been saying to me for years? When I would be like trying to convince them of truth and trying to tell them how they should be doing this, that, and the other. And they would say, Mom, just go do it and show us how it's done.
It's so much, and that's what I was going to say right before you said that. It's so much about like really grounding into leading by example. I mean, that's what the kings are. Like they live, you know, in their power centers and they lead by example hopefully for the people, right? And for their kingdom. And the leading by example is as Mom said, really creating your own foundation of security in this new realm. Because when we're, sharing these truths with people, it can be really scary. Well, if that's the truth and all of this is happening as a result, what do we do with that, right? And so it's a lot about creating those stable foundations step by step with this really like not this sort of real like I know all the ways and follow me. It's actually quite lighthearted with this fool where like I maybe don't know all the ways, but I'm really working at figuring it out for all of us so that I can be in my power and my strength and lead by example. And it looks like some real coming together and celebration that can happen in all of it, and ultimately emotional healing.
Yeah,
beautiful emotional healing that can come in the future. And really in all of this kind of trusting yourself yet and staying in the flow gives you broader ability to consider all these different angles, and that there's different viewpoints that everybody's going to have, but you are really grounded in yours where you can really share your wisdom and lead by example. And then it feels so much more safe to follow that and feel nurtured by that. And so that's essentially what Mom was saying. And now, I mean, oh my goodness, all the times when I was afraid and when I fought against the truths and it just so happened that I was kind of like at a pivotal point in my life where I really felt like there wasn't another direction I could really see going other than really going with you. Although
when the pandemic happened,
yeah,
we did. And it was a very big truth awakening moment for Kristal because she'd heard and known these things through me all her life, but had kind of held them off, had been like, I don't know, that's hard to work with, especially when there wasn't much else. No, there wasn't much consensus. Mm-hmm. I mean, what you have also in your, that our family didn't have, say, 20 years ago, is that there's so much of this out there now. Like, you're not the only one, those of you that are awake in your family. I know it feels like that. Some places, some locales and some regions and some family circles and stuff, it feels like you're the only one, but you're not. There is so many of us. Like, I work with people day and night all over the world, and there's a lot of us. That wasn't the case 15, 20 years ago.
And we're working on getting y'all together.
Yes. We're all going to be connecting more and more often. The other thing that's kind of an interesting phenomena is, it's kind of like that design what you want the future to look like. And just like when you want to, buy a new house or rent a place or something, and you have your wish list, it's, I want it to look like this and this. And we've noticed we're coming at life from this place of there's so many awake people, and it's wild. Everywhere we go, it seems like 90% of the people we meet are awake, and we're like, either there's a lot more of them around than the reports are suggesting, or our frequency is attracting that, and that's because we believe it's out there. That's the only difference. I talk to so many of you, and I'm literally talking to somebody in one region, and they're saying, no, there's no one around here. And I'm like, oh, I swear, I just talked to a client that's like, half an hour drive from where you are. So you are not aware of how many of you there are. And if you don't have to go on the internet and put up, notices or whatever. I mean, if you want, you can do that, but just say, I'm going to meet more and more and more people every day that are awake, and we're going to be ready to do really cool things together. And that is going to start to draw that towards you. And then your family are going to be going, wow, this is sort of interesting now. It's not just scary, right? Because that's what Kristal and her sister used to be like, Mom, I don't want to know this. Yeah.
I know. Like, no, I'm good. That's just, you just do your thing and figure it out. I mean, she showed up at the beginning of COVID with this massive binder of this is the things, all the things that are going to happen in the world. And these are all the stages of what you have to do to, and I was like, she had to put it away.
Right?
And look at us now.
Yeah.
Like it, and I always was such an advocate for it. I'll come there in my own time.
Mm-hmm.
And Mom just kept showing up and leading by example in that.
Yeah.
And it wasn't always easy.
Nope.
And it's still not.
That's right.
And that's okay that we're human in that way.
And it kind of broke my heart because both my kids said, yeah, like you just go ahead and do it. And I was like, I don't want to do it by myself. I'll be like just sad about that. Like I'm laughing now because thankfully we're a little further along with this now, and they are on board more or less with a lot of where I'm going. But it was really hard there for a while where I felt so alone. Mm-hmm. And I felt like, well, if my family aren't with me, then what do I even want to have this new life? Do I want, it used to just tear me apart. So I really get how that feels, and that, you just never know when the miracle is going to start to, like, your family members are going to turn the corner. And I want to say this cool story about Kristal's sister as well, because I watched her go through a lot of internal conflict because some of what was happening in the world was putting her up against some of her own social circles and her own belief systems. And she was struggling within herself to reconcile that. And at some point, seeing how many things were close to her as a young person, she was in her early 20s when the pandemic started, and seeing that she couldn't get a job, she couldn't go out with friends, she couldn't go to school, she couldn't a lot of times even find places to rent. Like it was just terrible to see her struggling with it all. And I remember taking her out for a walk one day, and I said, you know where I stand with all this, and also I see how hard this is, and I just want you to know that if you decide for yourself that this is a choice you're going to need to make, I support you in whatever you need to do for yourself. Mm-hmm. And then she just looked at me and she said, oh no, they're not putting that stuff in me over my dead body. And I just had this I just wanted to cry. I was like, the courage, right? To say that and go through all that. So, and maybe she would change her mind, get in a different scenario with other things that just became unbearable. Mm-hmm. So it feels like, as Kristal said, there's something about really knowing that they're doing their best, and we can't force them. We can only inspire them. And
unconditional love.
Yeah.
Honestly, like Lorna, as you said, with the 3 little ones, talk to them with love and support and suggestions. You got it. Like feeling that type of unconditional love, that even in adversity with our loved ones and those that we don't even know, like it's so essential for us to, as much as possible, practice that. So well done.
Beautiful.
Well done. Yeah.
Beautiful question. Thank you for that. I'd like to just pause here for a moment, refer you back to this banner that's going below, connecting with Kristal. So this 25% discount on readings can be booked through the website, through my website, and the link is below this live stream. And the coupon code is also there. So Kristal25, you can receive a 25% discount until the end of June. And as I said before, her prices are already very reasonable. And I wanted to take a couple of minutes and share with you a little bit about this extraordinary human being beside me and why I feel like she is such a gift to our community and so ready to be an additional support person on your team going forward. Kristal has always been the person that I go to for the most of my counsel. And I'm not kidding when I say always. I'm talking this little human at age 3, 4, 5, all the way through her teenage years. She would just spout the most extraordinary wisdom, the most grounded, beautiful, heart-centered perspectives. I learned so much from being blessed to have Kristal on my team and having her so close to me. Truly.
Thank you.
You know, I would be going through things and she would just have this way of speaking to all my ruffled feathers, all my anxieties.
All of her Gemini parts, huh? The 500 different directions that her mind and emotions would be going in.
She would find a way of, she'd listen and she'd gather it all like a gathering storm and pull it all together and then just drop this beautiful energy of grounded wisdom and perspective that would comfort me. And then I watched her do this as she was going into her teenage years with all her friends. Everybody would come to Kristal for that to this very day. If they wanted resolution, if they wanted to come back into alignment with their greater self, to find peace, they would always turn to Kristal. And so she's been this person. And then she chose to do this work in a career that put her in right out in the front line with all types of people. She was working as a hairdresser. I want to say she was a hair artist, and she was also a soul artist at the same time. So she would have clients coming back again and again. She ran her own salon for, 9 years.
Yeah.
And she would have people coming back just to be around her. Not only did she do phenomenal artistry with their hair, but she cared for their soul while they sat in her chair.
It was really why I went into hairdressing, so that I could do. I was like, I want to do people, not just hair.
Totally.
Yeah.
So, fast forward into these, like post-pandemic, really, she was in a position where she started wanting to make some changes. She started wanting to really come back into this calling that she's always had to counsel people, but she didn't want to go the regular route, going to college and university and getting a counseling degree. And maybe you want to take a moment and speak about how you ended up with Conscious Evolver at that time and following a path towards developing your skills as a coach, a spiritual coach, and then, of course, blending that with all the years of practice in working with divination and intuition and doing readings.
Okay. Yeah. Well, with the Conscious Evolver coaching system, I really, throughout the years, knew that I wanted to educate myself in counseling people. So I had some deeper tools to offer that weren't just intuition. And I really was like, where do I go with this? And should I do a counseling program? And nothing felt quite right because I'm more artistic than academic. And so it just landed in my lap. My most beloved dear friend, Bliss Prema, came into my life, and we became, our hearts connected and our souls connected, and we share a deep friendship and a deep love. And throughout the way, she had this system that she had developed and created, and she kept being like dropping little tidbits, like, do you want to come and join me? Come join me, come join me. And I really just waited until it felt like the right time. And then through the last few years in the pandemic, it really, I was like, this is it now. And I took it step by step and really did like a good few years of intensive work with the system and training.
So the system is called?
The system is called the Conscious Evolver system. And you can go onto Bliss Prema's website. And
we'll put a link when we're done the live. We'll go down and put a link to that below and check out Bliss's. She's also awake. Her workshops, her training, her coaching. She does these circles annually and biannually, and they're really a deep dive. Yeah, immersions that are all over online now. Anyway.
So accessible.
Yeah. And if you want to just do something for, a few days or a few weeks or months and even year-long programs and so on. So Kristal finished her training with Conscious Evolver. How long ago was that you completed?
Just over a year ago. Just over a year ago. It was an intensive year-long training, and I really was just blessed to have that interweave with working with becoming much more involved with the cards over that time, studying under mom, and really honestly, I went through a lot of my own deep, deep darkness and a lot of struggle over the last year and a half. And it was quite an initiation into being able to understand my deep shadow aspects so that I can really support others in it. And these tools of the conscious evolver system and the tarot and these incredible beings in my life really wrote it out with me and really got me to where I am now, to be here, you know, getting involved and supporting you and creating companies and systems.
You know, and I hear what Kristal's saying about that this has been really a deep time for her, transformative. You know, it's almost like as she went through these trainings, she was doing the work on herself. And I want to say that even in her most challenged aspects, she still shows up as this person that's there for everyone. And, you know, this is the kind of strength. Kristal has a taproot to the center of this beautiful planet. She is strong. She is grounded. Her work is so practical. And I just can't recommend her highly enough to, you know, if you want to just check out, you know, she's got like a short, what is it called? Deep dive or quick dive, not deep dive. Well, it's a deep quick dive. Let's put it that way. Deep quick dive with Kristal's a half-hour session. So you can book that, get 25% off. I mean, it's just, you know, practically a giveaway. And then also her hour-long sessions, beautiful. You can blend, she blends her talents and her skills that she's developed working with intuitive readings, the cards, and also her coach training, working with people repatterning old programs around trauma and their, you know, psychological patterns and so on. So I'm just so stoked to share this human being with you. I feel really blessed and honored on every level. And, you know, these lives, we're going to be coming on, Kristal will come on probably every second or third week with me. And then Anita's going to be coming back and forth with me as well. And then I'm hoping to try to get Sue back once in a while. Her schedule has just gotten really busy, but we'll see if we can get her on board too, to do our weekly live Q&As. So
thank you for listening.
Let's do another question here.
Thank you for staying here with us, tuning in with us.
Totally. Let's go down here a bit. Yay. Oh, gosh. Yeah. Thank you, Tammy.
Thank you, Tammy.
Thank you. Yeah, and Dawn is saying Kristal is also great at helping me get out of my head and into my heart.
It's all you, Dawn.
That's what it's like having a session with Kristal. She helps you dig through all of the conflicting feelings, for sure. Yay.
Thank you.
Ricky says, I am living in 5th dimension, and if my family and friends want to stay in the 3rd dimension, then they have free will to choose. But I'm living in the 5th dimension, and they can catch up when they choose. Good job, Ricky.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And sometimes they catch up, and sometimes they fall back. It's, you know, that's all right.
Yeah.
That's all right, Mama.
Okay, let's see. We had, what is our next question? I'm just trying to go through here. There was somebody asked a personal question about Zeus. Okay, let's pull that one up. Why not?
Yeah.
Tammy, I was thankful if you could look into my furry baby Zeus. We have gone to hell and back in the past 2 weeks with an enlarged prostate. Is he on the mend? What does he need? Okay, thanks, Tammy.
Let's look at both of those. Maybe 3 on is he on the mend and 3 on what does he need?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sounds good. And then we have a question about silver.
Ooh, yeah.
There we go. So Zeus, where are you at, Zeus? What do we need to know about you? And there's a lot coming through about our beloved four-legged
Oh my
family
gosh,
members
so
lately
much
in
right
readings. Yeah.
So much right now. They're doing so much work with us and our systems, and holy moly.
Definitely.
Okay, so
Where's he at?
Where's he at and what does he need?
Yeah, sure.
Where's he at and what does he need? Oh, how about I turn them the way that they need to go? Still learning.
Where's he at? Oh, what does he need? Oh gosh. Oh, I'm pretty happy to tell you that this looks quite good.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Kristal. Tell us what you're seeing there.
Certainly moving out of troubled waters. Everything that's going on has almost been, I feel like, a bit of a rebirth for both of you. Just like really kind of moving old stuff through his system. It's interesting. There's a little white dog here as well. So it's certainly like a spirit journey that you
look at this.
two have been on together.
The only dog in the tarot, really, there's a couple of hounds on the Ten of Pentacles, but this is the main, when people's pets come through, it's this card. So he's definitely there.
I wonder if he's like a social dog. Like it seems like he may want to be like loved up by more, like multiple people. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? Like almost like it's kind of like he's really wanting to interact with
playful and fun and interesting, because what does he need? It actually looks like there's children energy, and also, like other, like younger pets maybe or something. Anyway, yeah, it does look overall, this looks like he's going to come out of this okay. And I'm wondering, is there some kind of move happening? Or are you planning a move? It's almost like, yeah, let's see. So appreciate that read. I believe he was sent to us. Where is it? He's just young and my warrior.
Oh, yeah. This is definitely like, younger beginning the journey.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, and it does feel like he's got, he's got this energy that wants to be around other people, other young energies, and also maybe even other young pets.
Not very social with strangers, but he loves his family, teases his cat sisters. Lovely. That I could so see that, the cat sisters in this. Mm-hmm. Not planning a move.
Okay.
Planning a move.
This is also
like the investments that you've made in him are worth it. Like sometimes it's hard, but especially with them being younger, of course, they're going to invest in their medical care. But it really seems like it's he's going to come through it, and it's going to be, he'll have a lot of life to live from you putting some real value into his health at this point.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I almost even get a little bit of a feeling of siblings, like that. Maybe that's what I was feeling about the move. If he's young, is that he still kind of wants to go back to where he grew up or something, or there's just some connection to his siblings. So, settling in, right? Settling into his new home, because this is often, this Ace of Pentacles is about a move or a home. And, maybe it's taken him some time to really feel at home in his new home. And that's the place as well as the energy of the people. So, it feels like the people energy he's really warmed up to, but maybe the home he still misses.
Beautiful, Tammy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's lovely.
Aw, so happy to help and support in that. blessings and healing to Zeus and your whole family and all of that.
Totally.
Yeah.
Let's
Silver?
go on to silver.
Okay.
Okay.
Is it up there?
It is up there. It was, I do questions on this every week almost about what's happening with silver. Let's see if I can find the question.
Thanks, Ricky. We love to too.
Yeah.
We do.
I'm having a hard time finding that silver question now. You get to watch me squint as I scroll up and down. It does really help, by the way, if you're, especially because we don't have a moderator, if you want your question answered, put it in capitals. And that's just really easy for me to go, oh, there's a question.
We should say that in the beginning.
Shut.
Yeah.
Let's do that for now. Okay, so there was a question about silver. I can't
hold
find
on.
it.
You're just scrolling a little fast. Thank you, John. It's just right up here. Yeah. Oh, this is so cute because we did this last time and we scrolled all the way back up and couldn't find it.
Yeah. So let's just go ahead.
We'll find it. Okay. Well,
it could have just disappeared. Poof.
Gone. Okay. Well,
yeah. We'll look at it.
We're going to look at silver. Silver is such an interesting one. And as I shuffle here, I'll just say that Mom has been really, she educates me on so much. And she really shared an absolutely fascinating documentary with me, docu-series on YouTube recently about silver. And I've worn silver for years, and you don't even, it just is such a commonplace kind of part of our reality. And to learn the history of how it's come into our reality, where it comes from, and how it's been used, utilized, and traded and abused, I was like, every time I put my silver on now, I'm like, oh, I feel so honored to wear this precious.
It's a very interesting
element.
Frequency. And let's just see where it's at in terms of its value. Okay. Gosh, eh? Yep.
Oy.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting to try to sort all this out. Okay, so we're actually referring to the karma. There's some really heavy karma with silver.
Yeah.
With gold too, but in a way more so with silver.
Yeah.
I want to say, to me, this almost feels like there's an attempt to halt the rise, like hold back the rise for some reason. I'm not sure why I'm getting that. I do feel like there could be a dip. It feels like it's going to keep going up for another little bit here, and then maybe sometime in June it could drop. There's something that's trying to hold it back, is what I'm getting. It's being capped at a certain rate of growth for some reason, and I'm not sure who's tying up the value, but
But you just really don't know, we're not able to be, I feel like, clear on what direction it's really going to go in. There's going to be like a lot of stirring the pot with it. And, everybody's going to really have to make their own choices around it. But with the understanding, maybe continuing to put your energy in different places and not put all your eggs in the silver basket.
Yeah. And, I've been saying my classic tagline with precious metals for years has been gold will hold, silver you'll trade, silver's tradable. Like if you're looking at, post petrodollar economic transitions with different types of currencies, lots of them, localized, regionalized cryptocurrencies, not CDCs, different types of barter and trading systems, precious metals.
That I could see that trading in this. That makes sense.
So silver will be something you want to always hang on to. And this is where it gets tricky. If you're talking about investing in silver as where you're actually not even holding it in your physical possession, but you have it stored somewhere and you're trading it on the markets to make the big bloom. I've always kind of steered people a little bit away from that. With all of these transitional currencies, to me, they're not about making big money. They're about setting up a system that's going to help us through changing times, where we have various different ways to circulate currency. We can do some of the larger cryptos. We can do some of the, local regionalized digital currencies. And then we'll have perhaps still some cash and definitely precious metals that we can trade and exchange for goods. Like, that's going to be so important. So if anything, it feels like, bring it close and keep it in your, close to you, at least somewhere that you can access it pretty easily. And that it's not necessarily going to be about making your big, putting all your store in making a ton of profit off of silver. But I also feel like it's going to stay valuable. It's going to do these dips and highs and lows. Gold feels like it just slowly and steadily increases, but it's also harder to trade, because it's more valuable. And so it's just, what are you going to trade? You have to have like a little tiny scale and little bits of gold to be trading for things, right? So the silver coins are going to be easily tradable, is what I'm getting. So hopefully that isn't too disappointing. I know when I say to people, this perspective on precious metals, it can be a little bit upsetting because they've put a lot of store in making big money on silver.
Here we go. Will the price drop before it finally shoots up to its real value? Thanks, Dawn, for putting that in capitals for us.
Will the price drop? So I feel like that does look like it will. And I've other people have asked me this question, and I keep getting about the middle of June that it'll drop. So and then it will go up, but again, I'm feeling like it's being held for some reason. So
there's a lot of underground workings with silver that we don't really know about, like knowing the long held history of it and how it's been so deeply woven into our trades between countries. And it's
it's way undervalued. Yeah, Ricky's saying, in my humble opinion, I believe it should be valued at what is it, 2,150 an ounce. Yeah. So
suppressed for so long.
So something is still holding it back. And what are we looking at? Are we looking at, into the 8th month, into August, 8 or 10 weeks? But it doesn't look like, this is a turn, but it's not necessarily a turn for the better. It may go down first.
There's also an energy in it. Like, it's not just silver. It's like also the beings that are getting in there and mining this silver, and how that affects their families and their communities and where we're getting it from. There's there's so much.
Yeah, that's this. This is the karma card. So just like everything, different currencies, they all have their own karmic signature. And it's
agreed with it being undervalued. There's so much to it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ricky, for that perspective.
So we're just getting close to our 1 hour mark. Just jump on and say thank you to all of you for coming on board with us and going on this journey today.
There was one more question there from Barbara.
All right.
She put it in capitals for us.
Oh,
Let's have a look.
okay.
It's another, I think it's another puppy question.
Okay.
Will his spirit find me again as another puppy? Okay. You know what? Let me pull 3 cards on it, my dear.
There we go.
Yeah.
End off on a happy puppy note.
Happy puppy note. Yeah. Thanks, Carol.
Yeah. And while Kristal's shuffling, I'll just say again that if you would like to book a session with her 1 hour sessions, they're 120 Canadian and minus 25%. So really, really affordable. It won't stay that way forever. She's feeling like she wants to make them affordable because she, I think she undervalues herself in some ways, but also I really applaud her humility. She wants to start off. This is she's beginning, she's launching herself. She's been working in these areas for years, but she's really officially launching herself now. So she wants to be fair about saying she's not going to charge the same price that I'm charging, for example, or even Anita's charging. So, but just trust me in knowing that you're going to get a phenomenal reading with Kristal, and possibly even a hybrid session of reading, life coaching, and
I do usually always book the coaching sessions separate from the readings, but I do. They are so beautiful to bring together as well. So let's look at this for you, love. Mm-hmm. Puppy spirit. Mm-hmm. Oh, it's a yes.
Yeah, look at this. We've actually got the cat energy here too. There's one of the kitties that showed up. So I wonder if you're
come back as a kitty. Are you okay with a kitty?
Right. That's interesting.
Oh, and it could be quite like maybe even a male cat that's quite snuggly.
That's really sweet.
There's a lot of real heart connection and emotional closeness between the two of you. You might get it as a kitten. Come in as a young one.
Or maybe it's one that has come in as a kitten.
Yeah.
So
either way, spirit will be coming back.
And I get the feeling because of all this orangey color, I get that it could have orangey kind of markings. There's the cat that is kind of gingery in color. So just keep an eye out for that.
There you go, Barbara.
Yeah.
Enjoy that.
Blessings to all of you. Have such a beautiful week. We'll see you. I think Anita's back with me next week, and then Kristal will be back in a couple of weeks' time. So as I said before, check out the coupon below, jump on the booking system, and grab a spot with Kristal.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Have a beautiful week,
everybody,
and enjoy the full moon in a couple of